Picture the coldest night you have ever felt, then strip away every wall, heater, and blanket. Now travel back 20,000 years, to a world locked deep in an ice age. Winters back then were longer, darker, and far more dangerous than anything we know. So here is the question that has puzzled people for ages. What on earth did ancient humans actually do all winter? When we imagine it, we picture them huddled in a cave, simply waiting for the cold to pass. We imagine months of doing almost nothing but shivering in the dark. But to even survive that cold, the danger was constant and very real. Temperatures could plunge low enough to kill an unprotected person within hours. The night stretched on, sometimes leaving only a few pale hours of daylight. Food grew desperately scarce as plants died back and many animals vanished. The berries, roots, and greens of summer were long gone. Rivers and lakes froze into solid, silent sheets of ice. A single bad storm could trap a whole group for days on end. So it is easy to assume they spent winter mostly hiding from the weather. After all, staying still saves precious energy when food is running low. And without farms or shops, where would fresh supplies even come from? It is tempting to picture a long, gray season of simply enduring. A time to curl up, conserve heat, and let the months slowly crawl by. We imagine them sleeping through it, almost like bears settling in to hibernate. Just bodies huddled together, breathing slowly, riding out the dark. It is a cozy, quiet, and strangely comforting picture of the deep past. And for a long time, that is roughly how experts pictured it too. A season of passive survival, just barely hanging on until spring. We pictured them as helpless against a world of ice and shadow, small, cold, and waiting quietly for the sun to finally return. It is a tidy story, and for thousands of years it felt like the obvious one. But here is the thing, ancient humans did not simply sleep the cold months away. Winter was not a long nap, it was a daily test of skill, planning, and patience. The real work started long before the first frost, back in the abundance of autumn. Berries, nuts, and roots were gathered by the basketful while the land was still generous. Then came the clever part, turning fresh food into food that would not rot for months. They sliced meat thin and hung it over slow smoke until it turned dry and leathery. Salt and cold acted like a pause button, keeping food edible long after it was caught. And in the far north, the frozen ground itself became a natural deep freezer. Shelter mattered just as much, and fire was the beating heart of every winter camp. Keeping a fire alive in deep cold was a full-time job nobody could afford to fail. So at night they banked the embers under ash, sleeping beside warmth they could revive at dawn. Their clothes were no afterthought either. They were carefully built survival gear. Bone needles and animal sinew let them stitch tight layers that trapped precious body heat. Stuck inside for days, they did not waste the hours. Winter became the great workshop season. They napped flint into razor-edged blades, striking off flakes one careful blow at a time. They carved harpoons and spear points from bone, antler, and ivory with astonishing skill. Worn gear was mended, baskets rewoven, and ropes twisted from plant fiber and gut. But survival was only half of it. The long dark hours fed the imagination too. Gathered around the fire, elders told the stories that carried a whole people's memory. Those tales were not just for fun, they were maps, warnings, and lessons coded into legend. Deep in cold caves, they painted bulls and horses by flickering lamps of burning fat. Archaeologists have even found flutes carved from bird bone, 40,000 years old. Winter was when knowledge passed down, how to track, to nap, to heal, to survive. Not everyone stayed put, though. Some groups simply followed winter where it was kinder. They tracked reindeer and mammoth herds, since one big kill could feed a clan for weeks. Winter even helped the hunters. Fresh snow recorded every footprint like an open book. Frozen rivers turned into highways, and skis and sleds carried people across the white. And here is the twist that surprised scientists. Some ancient humans may have half-hibernated after all. In a Spanish cave, half-million-year-old bones show odd growth pauses, like winters spent barely moving. When food was scarce, slowing the body to a crawl may have been a survival superpower. And paradoxically, all that forced downtime is exactly when big ideas had room to grow. Sewing needles, oil lamps, bows, and warmer homes were all winter-driven inventions. Necessity in the cold quietly pushed human technology forward, season after frozen season. So winter never stopped them, it shaped them, and quietly, it shaped us too. Think about it. Your love of warm soup, cozy blankets, and stories is winter deep. Our midwinter feasts and festivals of light all echo that ancient huddle around the fire. Every winter you survive, you are repeating a ritual older than farming, older than writing. Those long, dark nights were not empty, they were full of work, wonder, and quiet genius. So next time the cold closes in, remember the fire-lit people who turned winter into a beginning. If this made the cold feel a little more human, hit subscribe and stay curious out there.